listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. And you can text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show through the Absolute Radio website. Yesy. And can I say, Sandy Waugh, our much beloved newsreader and weather broadcaster, is wearing an England shirt today.
Yeah.
She must have got dressed in darkness. Surely reached around, felt something acrylic and thought that'll do. And here we are now.
It's not like you never did that, let's be honest.
She's draped in our national shame.
You spent 10 years like that.
I know. But
Got you a house.
yeah, you're right. But we were brilliant there in the England football team, do you remember?
Yeah, you're right, Frank.
Compared to now, actually we were brilliant.
Frank, can I just do a bit of business first?
Oh, you betcha.
I've been sent a necklace, nice necklace, and it says Debbie on it. My name's not Debbie, so if any of our readers are called Debbie and want this necklace, I will send it to them. I'll pay for the postage.
Yeah, so if you're listening, Debbie,
you'll
pay for the postage.
Yeah, I will. I'm doing quite well now. Got a boyfriend.
Yeah. You mean he'll pay for the postage?
Yeah, he'll
pay. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yeah, so Debbie,
get in touch.
just let us know, the first Debbie we get. What if we get a bogus Debbie and then put it on eBay?
What about Debbie Reynolds? Oh, I'd love it.
I think she's no longer with us.
No, she's with us still.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
My gay godfather's ex-boyfriend.
When I say no longer with us, I don't think she listens anymore. I did a joke about the Franco-Prussian War, which apparently she had relatives in it, and took offence to that.
Well, you never know what's going to upset people, do you?
So touchy, Debbie Reynolds. Said this. I've said this once. I've said it, I think, 11 times. Mm-hmm. I'll have to check my journal. I'll tell you what. I was driving yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I was on my own in the car, and I thought, you know what? I think I'll have a soft drink. So I had a.
You got a bar in the car?
No, but I had a.
It's like Simon Cowell in the limo.
I always like to have a can in the car in case I get stuck in traffic.
A can?
I'm a bit thirsty.
This is going in a very different direction.
Can of pop.
Yeah, I didn't have a breaker. That's what you're thinking. No, so I had. You know,
What did you go for? Dr. Pepper, free from the Absolute Radio?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the doctor's work. So I always have a Dr. Pepper in the car. And so I had a Dr. Pepper, and on the news it started to tell me that 1 can of soft drink is a man's sugar allowance for the entire day.
No.
1 can of soft drink.
A lot of
Do you
sugar.
know, I enjoyed it that little bit more.
Good.
I thought, how lovely to have all my sugar allowance in 1 little can. How brilliant.
Yeah.
What, in one hit?
You know, because it's so easy to drag it out across the day and a little bit here, a little bit there. But no, I thought I'd get it out of the way. And honestly, I felt like I was doing something a bit daring and crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be healthy. It's got the word doctor in it. And also pepper is a vegetable.
Pepper's a
All
spice.
the
It's a vegetable as
It's
well.
not overtly saying
there
I'm
carbs in
healthy, but
pepper?
there are some. Are there?
Are there carbohydrates in pepper?
And which pepper? The spice or the
Oh, no,
peppers?
Not Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig is protein through and through.
Definitely a fat, yeah.
Well, she's not that fat.
She is
I don't think she's fat. If you see her alongside, say, Daddy Pig,
Yeah.
I'd say she's svelte.
I think his name's George, actually.
No, George is the brother.
Is it?
Yeah, get it right, for God's
Today's
sake. Daddy
texting.
Pig, he's called Daddy Pig. This is not a world where one gets the first names of parents.
Daddy Pig
It's
is
not-
called whatever I choose to call
not,
him
you know,
at that moment.
It's not Hampstead. It's lovely pig world.
Lovely pig world, isn't it?
Oh, God, I'm glad we're already in pig world. It's a lovely. Have you seen it? It's our superstore of pork products.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I'm a Debbie, says Debbie Picarillo.
Picarillo.
Well, I don't know how to pronounce it. Picariello. I'm going to go.
Okay.
Dear Emily, I'm a Debbie. I was actually named after Deborah Carr.
Oh, okay.
I pronounce it Carr.
Queen and I. The King and
Kerr.
I.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was you pronounced it Kerr. Oh, maybe
What?
not. I don't know.
I think you do pronounce it Car.
Thank you. I'm in the
What,
theatre.
K-double-R?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, how embarrassing.
I'm not having that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm not 100% certain.
No,
I
it's
just
It's a
have it.
Scottish name, isn't it? So surely you would roll the R at the end. Kerr.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's a Scottish
Here
name.
we go.
Is Descartes Scottish?
I'm going to be honest.
Check me out
That's
on-
actually my middle name.
What is Descartes?
Kerr.
Kerr is my middle name.
That's what, he's
K-double-R.
saying it as if it's an enormous vessel, as if it was something like Algernon. Kerr is fine as a middle name,
It is, yeah.
but there are many pronunciations. You don't own the
okay.
pronunciation just because you own the name.
Also,
All right, fair
it's
enough.
not in a Scottish context. It's not one of your proclaimers. No more songs.
Anyway, Debbie,
Anyway,
congratulations.
sorry, yeah.
You
Good name, Debbie.
You win the Debbie necklace.
The Debbie necklace, yeah, I'll send that to you. Send me your address, please, thank you.
And it's not as rubbish as you might think either.
No, it's good.
Is it? Because
It's actually worth quite a lot of money.
is it?
Yeah.
We didn't want to say that before in case opportunists text in. But Debbie Pecorino.
Opportunists or competition winners.
And Debbie, if you want to
Same thing.
send us a pronunciation, a phonetic pronunciation of your surname, we'll say
That'd be
that.
good, yeah.
That's right. So what? It's a designer necklace.
Well, never mind this. She's in Cornwall. That's going to cost me an arm and a leg. I didn't know that.
No, arm and a leg. I think that's the Isle of Man.
What if she's on the lizard?
If she's on the lizard, then that's going to be a bit coarse. I don't know. We think they're going to be slimy, but when you actually hold one,
Lizards. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they're not.
Yeah.
It's odd the way they have an air of sliminess whilst retaining an arid skin. Speaking of the scaly world, I was at Bybury Trout Farm this week.
Lovely.
You get about, don't you?
Yeah,
Drinking Dr. Pepper in the car, visiting Trout Farms.
That's what my life's like. You work hard, and you got all this to come.
I look forward to the Trout Farm.
Oh yeah, have you ever been to a trout farm?
No.
Oh, hey!
Sounds fabulous.
I'll tell you, what you do, you walk around. I mean, there's...
Now, those are those Roger Daltrey ones, aren't they?
This one, I think I've worked out why a lot of rock stars in the 70s got trout farms.
Yeah.
Because what happens
It's
is
delicious.
they give you cups of feed. Well, they don't give you, it's 50p a cup. For little pellets to feed the trout.
I visibly
I'm
saw
out.
Alan's face fall when you mentioned
That's it.
50p.
I'm out.
Yes,
I'm
and
family of four, that'd be £2 just in those cups. It's too much.
well, you can share a cup.
All right, yeah, good.
But anyway, what you do, but I'll tell you, once you've tried it, you'll go back for more cups, which is what I did.
Not a 50p a cup, he won't.
You throw a handful in, and the trout go absolutely. But they are flying out of
really?
the water.
Oh, that sounds
Are they?
I got more excitement from one handful of trout food than I did from watching 3 England games in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was properly thrilling, and you throw more in,
Yeah.
and they go crazy for it. There's like 50 of them all throwing themselves at
Is
the.
it not a danger they'll overeat if you keep doing that?
Well,
No,
you know what I'm
that'd be
like? I'm excited by the power you had.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
You see,
brilliant.
that's
I
the
know.
thing.
I did think if the homeless were like this, I'd give much more often. You know, they look genuinely enthusiastic as a group to have them. And we went back for more.
group?
We went back for more cups because
Yeah,
it was
I
so
bet you
great.
did.
And my son, Buzz, he absolutely
excited?
shrieked with laughter. It's like the best thing we'd ever done. And I can imagine, some 70s rock star.
Yeah. In a flat cap.
But
always
having,
fun.
maybe imbibing some hallucinogenic drugs and then going out and throwing those
Yeah.
and just staring at the fish leaping out of the water. How amazing that would be!
Yeah, that would do it.
And maybe a sort of naturally grown hippie jacuzzi.
Oh, yeah, get in there.
Yeah, because the ducks seem to be doing that. That they'd go crazy, the fish, and the ducks would swim over the top, smiling.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Bit pedantic, but talking of pedantry, Deborah Carr.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Never heard of her. Don't know who you're talking about. Do you mean Deborah Kerr?
Well, that doesn't surprise me, because what you wouldn't know is that Deborah Carr made it clear that her surname should always be pronounced the same as Carr, as in the vehicle.
Right.
How'd you like them apples?
Yeah.
Sounds like she's very English with a Scottish name to me. That's what I think.
You sound very English with a Scottish name.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
Yeah.
I must admit, it would never have occurred to me. I'll tell you what I've been doing this week.
Oh, hang on.
Oh.
Are you moving away from the trout farm? Are you done with that? Because I have a question. Did you
Oh,
get
no,
to eat
fine.
any? Did you actually get to...
You can.
can,
First
but
of all,
you
you
didn't.
can buy
Well,
them.
that's
you
a
can
bit
buy-
arm in my
there's a
verse. I don't
shop.
approve of that. If you've
There's
been
a
round to
shop.
their gaff, Frank, can't
Well,
eat
I
them.
fed them.
Exactly.
They're fish. There's a certain deal, I think. If you feed them, then they have to feed you.
Exactly.
And who else are they going to feed me other than with their own flesh?
Yeah. They're not going to cook you a
No,
dinner.
that's this week's texting. How else can trout feed me other than with their own flesh?
You didn't eat any?
No, there's options. There's a fish, a fishmonger there.
Is there?
Lovely.
Selling it. I mean, that's what you call fresh.
Yeah.
Doesn't get fresher.
They're just carried across. And there's also a cafe, of which I think there were 7 main courses, 6 of which were trout-based.
Brilliant.
Imagine if they said, "Oh no, we don't do fish."
Yeah,
I'd respect them for that.
yeah, but no, it was like that old Monty Python sketch when everything was spam.
Spam.
But it was trout this, trout that. Trout this, trout that, and trout the other. That's what it was. Yes,
remember
but I didn't eat any. I did feel that they'd given us entertainment, and I will eat trout again, but I'll just give it a few days.
No, this is
I
like
always-
when people don't eat pig because they've watched the film Babe and they think it's cute.
Oh,
Just get it down, you.
Okay.
I'm in for it now.
Any
Delicious.
people from religions who don't eat pig? Alan is not suggesting that that's because of the film Babe.
Yeah, it's a different
Remember
thing,
that?
right?
Yeah.
Oh, is
Just
that
want to
right?
don't get you into any trouble.
What about?
I wasn't. I was quite far from trouble at that
It's a
point.
difficult time.
Frank, do you know what that reminds me of? When Roger Daltrey... Do you remember he used to do an ad for a charge card? I won't say what it was,
Oh,
but it was
yes.
a famous ad campaign.
Yes, I remember that.
And it stuck with me for years because there was one thing he used to say. He was down by his trout farm in the Peaky Blinders cap.
Yeah.
And I always remember it because he said, having a famous face doesn't help pay for nights out. Well, I disagree totally.
That's absolutely incorrect.
Yeah. But the card does.
Oh,
no,
right.
no, I think he actually said having a famous face doesn't pay for nice trout.
Oh, yeah.
You misunderstood him there, which is correct, because I went up to the shop at the Byberry Trout Farm, smiled, but did I get an offer of free trout?
No.
Did I buffalo?
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
So let me ask you a question. Have either of you ever read any Beatrix Potter?
Oh, yeah, when I was a child.
Like
I
it?
was all over it. Some I liked, yeah.
Not sure about it.
Really?
I tried it on Boz this week.
Oh, yeah, how'd it go?
Well, we started reading this book. It was rabbit-based, this particular
It's called
one.
Peter Rabbit.
No, I think
Rabbit-based.
I think this was called something Floppy Bunnies or something.
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, I know that one.
I think there's a regular rabbit theme in her work. And
Excuse me.
one of them was his dad turned up the rabbit, and the dad. So I'm reading this to Boz. A certain amount of paraphrasing, but every picture tells a story. And the daddy rabbit starts stripping down a branch off a tree, and then starts hitting the rabbit with it really hard, as as a punishment.
Tough
for-
love in the rabbit community, was it?
Yeah, well, it was a
Oh,
bit
bit 70s, isn't it?
You know when
From a different
you know when
time.
you read about stuff like and people say Enid Blyton, you can't read it to children anymore because it's it's politically incorrect, and you think, oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
When you're actually reading it to a child, and there's a rabbit dad whipping his rabbit son with a branch, we were avoiding each other's gaze. I could tell.
Oh, no.
Have you met my gays? They're lovely blokes. I sponsor them.
They're out in full force today.
Oh, they certainly are. I gave them a bit extra this week, to be honest. You go and enjoy yourselves. Oh, they laughed.
Enjoy yourselves, Al.
But I must say, if I'm going to be, Lance is getting a bit sullen.
Lance.
Yeah. But
He's one of
I
them.
think he's
Lance.
I just think. What do you mean he's one of them? You talk like that, do you? Anyway, if you're listening, boys, have fun, eh?
I mean, Lance is the one you've chosen to name out of your gates.
Yeah, well, I just mentioned, I don't want to go, it's not about that,
You
is
don't
it?
want to go through them all, do you?
I think people who make charity a public thing like that.
It's a charitable venture.
Well, I
Charity?
sponsor them
To do what?
to live. Well,
Do
they
you have a photograph of them on your fridge?
well, I do actually. I have more than one, and well, I won't even go into it. But they're lovely lads, and all the best.
Yeah. Enjoy today, Lance, said the other lads.
Stop trying to normalise it.
What? How can you say that on Pride Day?
Wow.
No, I'm talking about you and your behaviour.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I was really quite...
Oh, yeah, so the Peter Rabbit.
It's, I'm wondering if you're supposed to read it Beatrix Potter. Eh?
Oh, yeah.
Or Dominatrix Potter.
Well, I think we know who'll know about that.
Yeah, well, we'll ask them later when I see my friends in the S&M community. But it was, I really found it unpleasant. And then a mummy rabbit spanked another rabbit in a different book. And,
that's quite specialist interest, I'll say.
It is, it certainly is.
It's on the very top shelf.
But, and then I thought, well, I'll go more classic. So I went for Mr. Jeremy Fisher, who I had heard of.
Oh, I love Jeremy Fisher.
Frog in breeches.
Yeah.
And I was reading his book, and he said, "Oh, I've got some friends coming round later." You know, everyone's called David Rabbit and
Squirrel Nutkin.
Yeah, exactly. But they've all got, it's got squirrel in it.
Of course,
in the name. He said Alderman Ptolemy Tortoise is coming round. I thought it all makes sense.
Lovely.
So he listed the... And then another one of his friends who's coming round is called Sir Isaac Newton.
Who was that?
No animal based name. Sir Isaac Newton, no reference to the fact there's already someone called that.
Yeah.
Was it the same one? Was it the same Sir Isaac?
No, well,
Newton?
I thought, is that what's going to happen?
Is it the same one going for dinner with a frog wearing breeches?
Well, then at the end,
exactly. As you can imagine, I was very concerned how they're going to handle the scale.
Yeah.
Because if the real Sir Isaac Newton turned up, he'd only be able to get his buckled shoe and ankle.
Yeah. He had quite a hairdo on him, as I recall.
Well, we'd never have got that far, let's face it. But it turns out that it looks like it's some sort of toad creature, Sir Isaac. And all the others have adopted their animal name, Floppy, Bonnie, Peter Rabbit.
Yeah.
He's called Sir Isaac Newton. If anyone's got an explanation, I'd love to hear it. No, I mean that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We have a theory that if you make
I've got a million of them.
Yeah, but in terms of the texting on commercial radio, I have said in the past, if you make a slight mistake, that's the thing that really lights up the switchboard.
Yes, indeed.
And I think also, if you don't get something that everybody else does get, that is another way of really getting people to text.
What are you building up to here?
You're Sir Isaac Newton in the Beatrix Potter story. It wasn't Beatrix Potter, was it? You know what I mean?
It was Beatrix.
It was Beatrix Potter.
Jeremy Fisher.
I'm glad you were paying attention.
We've had so many texts saying Sir Isaac Newton is a newt. It's a newt. See, newt.
I get it, of course.
Maybe he was a newt. Sir Isaac Newton. That clears it up, Frank.
I feel it's important to actually...
they're texting their thousands.
I have to say, he's the same.
Look forward to listening an hour.
Can I point out, he's I think I remember as being slightly taller than Mr. Jeremy Fisher, who's a frog.
Mr. Jeremy Fisher.
I think he's
got
up on his hind legs.
I think he's called Mr. Jeremy Fisher, isn't he? So it's aren't newts considerably smaller than frogs?
I haven't spent time with them, I don't know.
Oh, I've spent time with
funny
the
Ken
newts.
Livingstone was a co-host. Didn't he keep...
The only person ever to say that.
Yeah.
He didn't want the gig, you had to take me.
Yes.
He said he likes a lion on Saturdays.
Has he got a show?
He's got a newt.
He's got loads of
And
newts.
that's where I'm starting from.
Oh.
I think he did have
I
a show.
thought he was just tired.
Yeah, he does look tired. Doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks like a man who hasn't slept for 3 weeks.
We've had text saying, are you sure he's not a newt, Frank? Is Newton being a newt? He's a newt,
Why wasn't...
Frank.
If he'd been called Sir Isaac Newt, that would have been brilliant, wouldn't he? I'd have really
wouldn't it? It would have been remotely clever.
Sir Isaac Newt would have been really great.
No, it wouldn't have missed something like the on.
That's better than Sir Isaac Newton.
No.
Yes.
We've also had this text.
This is interesting.
How can Frank have missed such a pun? I'm so sad for him. He may have to leave the station. I mean, we've really got the full sweep of response.
Yeah, I think I will have to leave the station. Doesn't the man have to blow a whistle before I can do that? I am sad I missed the pun, but if I was misled by the illustration, which shows a newt to be larger than a frog. That's my defence.
Or did you think it was a science book? that everything was actual size or, like, to scale?
I thought it was an S&M book, I'll be honest with you. Everything else suggested. I haven't read a book with so many canines. Well, obviously I have.
Well, I don't want you to read The Tailor of Gloucester then, that gets very dark.
Yeah, well, that Tailor of Gloucester was in the box set that I
Don't go there.
No. What, Gloucester? It's a bit late for that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Talking about Beatrix Potter this morning on Absolute Radio.
We've thinking of banning it for some reason.
Yeah, we cleared up...
I think it should be banned. It has violence against children. And also, there's some rabbits who were picked up by a farmer who says to his wife, "These will do to line my cloak." Now, I'm a devotee of the cloak, as you know. But a rabbit lined? I don't think so.
What about that mouse on the cotton reel? So uncomfortable. That's Tailor of Gloucester. 853 has texted us. Mr. Jeremy Fisher... No reference there to him being a frog. Now, that's a fair point.
That is a fair point. I missed that. In fact, all the suggestions are, if you take Sir Isaac Newton, Mr. Jeremy Fish,
should be a fish.
Well, it doesn't always operate on that principle. You're obviously not familiar with the back catalogue.
Not always, but I'm saying there's a lot of that. There's a lot of Peter Rabbit, Squirrel Nutkin. Yeah.
Mrs. Tiggy Winkle. How does that work?
Jemima Puddle Duck.
Is that a duck?
Tiggy Winkle is a hedgehog. Winkle. There you go.
Yeah, that should have been a Winkle. Clearly. I think what she's done, she's come up... I say, I love these names.
This is still daytime radio, yeah?
Character doesn't really... Yeah, exactly. This is radio... soft rock. That's what we specialise in. Soft rock and Beatrix Potter. Yeah, Mr. Jeremy Fisher, I should say, that does fish in it. He's a keen angler. Fisher. So he's been picked up more for his characteristics than his species.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's move on.
Okay.
You're banning?
Well, yeah, I think that I think it should be banned.
Well, rather than people correcting you on 8, 12, 15, maybe we can ask what they'd ban.
Okay.
Isn't that?
Yeah, banning. Isn't there enough of that?
Yeah.
It's been banned, apparently. I'll tell you something else as well this week. It was my mother-in-law's, as I like to call her, my common law mother-in-law. Is that the word?
This is when the old mainstream jokes are being updated, isn't it? My common-in-law mother-in-law. What's she called now?
Would she be common-in-law? When you have a wife who isn't married, is that your common-law wife or common-in-law?
Yeah. Although I think the idea
well, you've got
of
a lot of
common-in-laws is flawed.
Has it gone, the common-law wife?
I thought it was always a thing that it didn't really exist. You know, they said it was like a rule. But it's not really a rule.
Anyway, Sandy Mason.
We've got bogged down. But we haven't got Bob down, because he's working a lot today.
Safari suit.
Yeah.
Sandy Mason.
Friend
of the show.
It was my mother-in-law's birthday, so I said to my 2-year-old son, what shall we get Grandma? This is, I'm afraid, into the territory of the funny things they say. I never thought I'd go there, but here we are. I said, what should we get Grandma for her birthday? He said, raisins.
I'd be quite pleased with that.
Good gift.
Now, I laughed, but I forgot about it. The next day, we're in Holland and Barrett, and he comes over to me with a large bag of raisins, having remembered it. And I thought, you know what? This is actually a brilliant way of doing gifts.
Yeah.
Because I can give these raisins. In any other circumstance, you think, what the... And he said this was suggested by Bozzy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's a lovely present.
Yeah.
So we let him choose the card as well. It made life so much easier.
Yeah.
Chose a greeting card with a fat, naked woman eating cake on it. And she was absolutely thrilled because it was chosen by him. So if you have a child, you can hand over the whole responsibility of other people's birthdays.
I once asked my son what we should get his mummy for Christmas, and he came over and whispered into my ear, "White wine." So we did. White wine.
They know. They've tuned into the old gift thing.
Yeah.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. I just realised there wasn't enough energy in my voice. You can text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show through the Absolute Radio website.
That's right, Frank. I've realised there's not enough energy in my voice either.
You sound terrible.
Much better.
It's not
Sound
really
like
me,
a
is it?
regional
It's not
roadshow.
really me. Frank, we've had an email that I think I should bring
An
to your
email,
attention.
you say?
That's right, Frank.
Blimey!
I refuse to join in. I'm
Here's
keeping
the,
my dignity for once in my life.
Well, don't blame me when you get sacked.
Well, funnily enough, I will.
Well,
not
check me
speaking
off.
with energy in your voice is a sacking offence now,
Didn't
Emily.
you get the energy in voice memo this week?
It really doesn't suit me. I feel tired.
You sound very much like a DJ who
Yeah.
would play Everybody Walk the Dinosaur, Aka-laka-laka boom.
Well,
I would play that if I knew what it was.
oh, it's good.
Is it?
I don't know that. Oh, that was
Open the
during
door?
you. That was
Yeah.
Open the door, get on the floor.
I don't like the good, I like the strange.
yeah, but that was in the 80s. He had other stuff going on.
Yeah, true.
Why bring up the 80s?
Hi, Frank, Emily and Alan. Frank, when introducing...
This is why I don't host on Absolute 80s. Makes life very difficult. Absolute Blur. Then they'd think it's all going to be Blur instead
That'd
of me
be good,
talking about my
something like
life
that,
in the
yeah.
80s.
Frank, when introducing the magazine song this morning that you played on this channel that might not have been on 80s, but anyway, nevertheless.
Let's just
When introducing the magazine song this morning, you said this could be one of the greatest guitar riffs of all time.
That's correct.
He's capitalised of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He then continues, can we please have a moratorium on this phrase, of all time?
Oh,
the electric guitar has been around for, what, 70 or 80 years, and all time is reckoned in billions. Just a thought. Mike Griffin.
Well, can
I don't know about you, but I feel stiff with stress.
Can I
just
say,
thought we should bring it to you.
I didn't say electric guitar, I said guitar.
Well,
Riff.
Oh, his voice
good
is
point.
gone. The energy's
Good
gone.
point, Mike Griffin. Yeah, he's gone
That
back.
energy's dissipated.
I was including the medieval troubadours of yesteryear.
Natch. Me too, in almost everything
Can I
I
say it's the
say.
only time I've ever heard the word troubadours followed by the word natch.
I'm still doing that zesty upbeat thing. It's not really me. I think it's good that he's banning the phrase of all time.
I think
he's,
this is a
he's
bit
actually
like-
picked up on our what would you ban request.
Oh,
he's the
I
only
see.
person that has.
I see, yeah. All right, of all time.
You'd get rid of Beatrix
Yeah, but
Potter.
I think it's fine, because when you say of all time, say if it was electric guitar, it's still of all time, but obviously you're only dealing with that last bit of it.
Yeah.
I'm with Frank on
inevitably,
this.
it's of all time.
Although conversationally speaking, if we are going to get rid of a thing, I think adults that use the phrase or word bestest, I mean, that is...
Who does that?
Oh, you know when people are like, oh, it's my bestest, I
That's
just...
women with cuddly toys on the bed.
Yeah, it's
Isn't
a
it?
waste of all our
Oh,
time,
yeah,
because the
women
word
with
best
cuddly
is
toys.
shorter.
Women with pink bedrooms.
Oh dear. That's why.
Women
It's
with
fine. It's
pink
fine.
bedrooms. Life without... Yeah, what's that song?
Yeah.
Games without boundaries.
Games without frontiers, darling.
Dogs without ears. Is it something like that?
Dogs without ears.
No, it's nothing like that.
Dogs without ears, you get
Do you know
them.
what that
Dogs
reminded me
without
of,
ears.
Frank?
You get dogs without ears. They've been savaged.
With Beatrix Potter thing.
Dog fighting rings. God, you need to get out more.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what we haven't talked about. What about that French tennis player? The one at Wimbledon. I believe his name is Benoit Paire.
Well, of course it is. Well, they're all called more or less that.
Is it really?
No, but he got knocked out
I
in the
read
first
this.
round of the men's singles.
Okay.
And he said, "I'm not at all sad to leave this place where the atmosphere displeases me greatly. Simply, I hate Wimbledon, and I'm happy to leave as soon as possible. Thank you, good night."
Was he playing a baddie in a film as well?
That was absolutely... Say that again.
I'm not at all sad to leave this place where the atmosphere displeases me greatly. Simply, I hate Wimbledon, and I'm happy to leave as soon as possible. Lovely.
What I like about that is that you didn't say only once.
Oh no, I went for it.
Well, indeed.
I'll always go for it. Frank, what's going on?
I love it.
Yeah, I do. Now, I like this because it was very Big Brother evicty, wasn't it? You know, when they say, yes, I'm going home.
It was part Big Brother Evictee and part sort of weather forecast. The atmosphere displeases me greatly. I feel like he's kind of going, it's a bit muggy, and I'm not really into the Wimbledon weather. Is it a weather thing, or is it...
This is his second language now, to be fair.
Yeah, but
if it was Andy Murray going out at the Paris Open, speaking in French, how would that be?
I don't know. Does he have French, Andy Murray? I don't know.
No, of course he doesn't.
Well, you say course. Wiggo does, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yep.
But you're obsessed by him.
But Wiggo looks a bit more
Really
interesting.
obsessed
You've absolutely recreated Bradley Wiggins' hair. I mean, absolutely.
I'd
with
go
the
so far as
sideburns.
to say you've got an obsession over yourself with him.
I haven't.
As someone I worked with once said to me of the Craze.
Really?
Yeah, he said, I don't know what happened to me. I've got an obsession over myself with them. I like obsession over myself.
I
with
like
them.
it. It's like the cloak of invisibility. What the obsession takes over.
Anyway, so he was... I like that he used the word displeased, though. You don't hear that often enough in sport.
That's
He
good.
might have been telling the truth. He might not be a bad loser. He might have really hated the whole English middle-classness of Wimbledon, you know, the strawberries and cream
Yeah.
and all
Yeah,
that.
but you can't... It's don't ever say
pins.
you're pleased to go home. It's like in the jungle, as you call it, when they say, oh, yeah, I just want to see my family. What family? You've only
Obviously-
got one woman with
Obviously,
extensions waiting
I
on that
always
bridge.
think if you like your family so much, maybe you wouldn't sign up to a show where you could be away from them for 3 weeks. But I don't know. You see, I don't know. Losers are always more interesting than winners. In a way,
yeah.
I hate winners.
What does that say about us?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I mean, there's more documentaries about Hitler than Churchill. Why do you think that is? Because everyone loves a loser.
Hang on. Are you using Hitler as a poster boy for losers here?
Well, yeah.
That's not all he was, in fairness. Right?
No,
I'm not sure that's why they're doing documentaries on him.
Because he lost. Believe me, if he'd won, we wouldn't be doing documentaries about him. It'd be a dangerous business. Because it'd be a family business. He'd have his kids. Well, he didn't have kids. The country would be run by Alsatians.
An interesting take on fatherland there.
But you remember when Terry Griffiths...
Countries be run by
When Terry Griffiths got knocked out of the World Snooker Championship and he said, you know, there's a certain beauty in defeat.
Oh, lovely.
And that was one of the best things I've ever heard a beaten sportsman say,
Yeah,
apart
that's
from
good.
stop, Frank, stop. That was when I don't know if that was when Mark Corrie had forgotten our special word. But that's a different story.
God.
But I like the fact that he reacted badly. It was a good thing. Hello, you still with me?
Yeah, we're listening. We're listening to your theories.
Okay. I do.
That was all
I'll
about
tell you what
theories.
I find.
What do you find?
Do you find, like
Is
Frank,
this-
that every loser wins? That's why we do documentaries about it?
No, but I quite like it, Frank. I like being the loser. If I'm playing a board game, I love it when I get out. I can sit back, luxuriate, have a glass of wine.
No, this is like the Frank. This is making it. You
No, I
don't
do
really.
love losing
I know
board
you,
games.
Emily Dean, and you hate it. Going out first, you would absolutely. You'd say, "Oh, this is lovely," sitting back, but you would so hate it. I can't believe you said that. Insincerity. Absolute insincerity would be a great.
Oh, that'd be a good station that they could work
Yeah,
on, wouldn't it?
love it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We love you.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes. We're
at Wimbledon, and
We're not at Wimbledon. Can we make that clear?
well, no,
Because
but I hope to be.
I don't like the atmosphere.
It displeases me greatly. Taking it into other territories there. Well, the other thing that's happening at Wimbledon is, you can't say ball boys anymore. There's been new legislation. You can't say ball boys or ball girls. You have to say ball kids now.
There genuinely hasn't been new legislation, has there?
Yeah, there has.
No.
I believe so. Well, they've told the commentators that's how they should refer to them.
Ball children is what I suppose you'd end up with if you didn't go for kids.
Ball youths.
What about little bees, because they're busy,
No,
aren't they? They
steady.
run around. If you said, "Oh, look at the little bees, they're getting the balls back."
Yeah, but the trouble is with that is that they tend to operate as individuals, the ball. Let's call them the ball kids. I think what would be better if there was like 20 of them at one side of the court. A ball goes free, and it's like the trout at the Trout Farm. They all seize upon it, and then they hold on to that ball, and the one who's got the most balls at the end of the game gets some sort of prize. Maybe a necklace with Debbie on it.
Isn't that going to reward the biggest, toughest of the little bees?
No, it's going to... it's the one with the best focus.
Oh. I would have hated that job. Why would you want to do that?
The samurai code says that when a sparrow hawk attacks a sparrow, you have to focus on the one you're going to go for, and don't even look at the others. Just stick with that. Even if one goes really close to you, forget it. Just keep with the one you're after.
Lovely little life.
That's my advice to the ball kids under this new system that they've been forced to confront.
I never had any desire to do that, but I had to unflattering skirt. Stand.
I think they're in shorts now.
Oh, even the ladies?
Well, yes, I think that's part of the new equality thing. They don't
I don't approve of that.
I think they should wear green bodysuits.
So they're
like morph suits?
Like green body stockings.
Morph suits.
And then
body stocking.
Yeah, and then they should have robotic telescopic tongues with Velcro tips. So they're like lizards. They go... That's how they collect the balls up.
That sounds great.
That'd be fantastic.
I've gone a bit Jeremy Fisher.
That'd be brilliant now. Imagine that. Plucking them out the air.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. When they're in the air, they're sort of in play, aren't they?
Not necessarily. Not if they've just bounced out.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Come on, think it through.
Are you turning it into a Doctor Who episode as well?
No, it would just be, give it a bit of theatre. That's what people want nowadays. Come on, Tim. That's what they're after.
Good ref. Come on, Tim.
That's what they used to shout.
That's what they shout at Andy Murray, though, now.
Do they?
Yeah.
They still shout, come on, Tim.
They shout, come on, Tim.
Do they really?
Might have done it myself.
That's good.
Very good.
Comedy.
Anne Hayden-Jones.
Lovely reference.
West Brom fan. One of the last British
That sounds
winners.
like a euphemism.
What?
I don't know what for, but it just does.
No, she's... She was the winner before Virginia Wade.
Yes.
Do you know Virginia Wade? No, but thanks for the tips.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
You know what you can't take to Wimbledon this year? If you do get tickets, is your thermos flask full of tea or coffee.
Why would I do that now?
Oh,
it's
no,
hot, isn't it? Isn't it hot, Wimbledon?
That's just verboten.
People drink tea in hot countries, don't they?
Thermos, please.
People do drink tea in hot countries. That is a thing, isn't it? I mean, the Indians like tea, don't they? It's
I don't like
the Indians do like tea, you're right.
And it's hot there, I'm led to believe.
It is hot.
That's just a fact, isn't it? I'm just telling you some facts. But you can't take your thermos flask this year to Wimbledon because they're saying, look, it's a security alert.
It's confiscated.
The Daily Mail are saying they're not letting you in with your thermos flask so that they can charge you £3 for a cup of tea. That's what the Daily Mail are saying.
I'll tell you what else I like.
That's cheap,
got to be honest. Well, you say that. The Daily Mirror are saying the same cup of tea is £2.20, so I don't know who to believe
all you
anymore.
do read newspapers about this story.
About how much
you know everything.
If it's about tea prices.
I've got it on as an alert.
You just Google alert on tea prices.
And then I just sporadically pick up my phone and go, how much? Even on the quiet coach, I'll do that.
The Morning Star. Well, you know what I liked about the Daily Mail is when they get quotes from people, it's always a very specific type of person, isn't it?
Isn't it always Boise from Only Fools and Horses?
When they get a quote from a member of the public. So in this case, they asked Caroline Fiennes, a philanthropy advisor.
She's a what?
Now, what sort of a job? She said, I'll tell you exactly what she said. She said, I've always found it rather delightful that one can take in food and drink. I like she said delightful.
Nice.
But what seems quite strange to me is, what is a philanthropy advisor?
I know what that is.
What is it? Do they say, give money to charity, that'll be £1,000, please?
You know when you're out with a friend and you walk past the big issue seller and you say, oh, you don't want that. That's you being a philanthropy advisor. That's when you don't need that. Basically, she's turned that into a job.
Okay, I'm quite obsessed by her. Anyway, so you can't take the tea in, Frank?
No, what they should do is take a tea bag or a few tea bags in their pockets,
Oh, yeah.
and then put them under the gum like a Skull Bandit. You know the old Skull Bandits used to be. It used to be a way of smoking indoors. So they contain nicotine. They use a lot.
Chewing is this?
They do a lot of them in Scandinavia. Well, they're in small bags like tea bags,
Oh, are they?
and you wedge them between your top lip and your gum, and you just leave it there and let it drain.
That reminds me of when I was in Chokey.
Oh, I might get into that. I've
I wouldn't recommend.
never
it.
really been a smoker, but I might get into it.
Oh, well, hold on. I don't want to be the man who, known as the man who brought you into the Skull Bandit territory.
Skull Bandit. Is that what I
Skull.
should...
SKOAL.
Hang on, just let me write that down.
For any young children
SKOAL.
who are wondering about this new tobacco.
SKOAL. Bandit. Get into it.
No,
There we go.
don't
Just
get into it.
making a little aid memoir.
But I'm told that the physio in the Swedish national side, football this is, it gives them out to the players because they think it's better than smoking tobacco. Can I say I absolutely not recommended it?
Should it be an either or for a professional footballer, you'd think?
Well,
Just ask them not to bother with tobacco.
Pretty laid back Scandinavians.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I believe we're going to wander towards email corner. I've stopped saying sachet, even though I've been since proved right.
You've been victimised.
Yeah.
Here we go. Email corner. And relax.
Good morning, Frank, Emily, Alan / Steve, Matt, Pete, or whoever else is in.
Oh,
I see.
I'm sorry, but sometimes we have to fill the gap.
Yeah.
We've got
Doing
other
our
commitments
best.
every now and again. Give a guy a break, yeah? Frank.
I hated that.
Give a guy a break.
No, the commitments.
Oh,
Sorry, carry on.
it's on in the West End.
I know.
Frank, did you hate it? I quite liked it.
Oh, it's very on Frank.
Anything-
Mustang Sally!
Anything that's
Come
got
on!
that, yeah, that kind of.
It's a bit Shane Ritchie singing, come on!
anything that's got that kind of Mustang Sally thing. in it.
Right, yeah, it's not for you.
Pub rock.
He can write, though, can't he? Is it Roddy Doyle, the writer?
Oh, I like Roddy Doyle,
Yeah,
obviously.
he
but,
can write.
Mustang Sally.
Okay.
No, that's a memo I wrote about a lynching that I'm going to later.
Oh, I'll tell you what else they like. Try a little tenderness, those commitments ones.
Me get weary.
I have to say, you moved on very quickly from the Mustang Sally pun there. I thought it was splendid work for somebody that didn't get Sir Isaac Newton. That's really good.
I've bounced back.
Yeah, haven't you?
Yeah.
Good morning, Frank, Emily. Anyway,
This character, Terry Pinn, what's he got to do with anything? No, carry on.
Frank,
I
as
haven't
a
seen them
follower of...
anymore. Very 70s terrapins, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyway.
As a follower of the Nazarene, maybe you could answer me this.
That is correct.
Tweeting the Pope has proved next to useless. Why do church steeples have lightning conductors when lightning is considered to be an act of God? It is for insurance purposes, isn't it?
I'll trust you to know about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only person to read the T's and C's to his wife every night in bed.
Well,
Gotta have something to talk about. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons that that churches have lightning conductors is that we like to sort of kid the atheists that we're all in it together, whereas in fact, of course, we're very much behind the velvet rope in the VIP area.
Oh, clever.
But, it's an age of equality. We have to pretend, oh, no, there might be some atheists get through. There won't be.
There won't.
Trust me, no. They're all damned.
Okay.
Also, I think God does deliver lightning the way an American paper boy delivers newspapers. It's a bit going down on the bike, just chucking them into people's gardens. I think, he's busy.
Yeah.
And I think lightning is the thing that he just doesn't have time to give it his full attention.
I thought it might just be that they looked like lightning rods, but they're actually like CB aerials. Do you think any of the
CB
priests
aerials
are
to
doing
God.
Oh, well, it
can't
could
you
be
get
to
more
God, or
modern
it could just be
equipment?
to anyone. I don't know. Does CB still even exist now that they've got mobile phones?
Well,
No, but I'm going to start
hope so.
repopularising it. I'm going to say to people, CB me.
Nice.
What did they say to each other on the CB?
Well, I can tell you that because I once went to a friend's house and we spent quite a lot of time on his CB, and we mainly spent our time saying breaker 19, breaker 19,
Brilliant.
breaker 19, rig check. I remember saying rig check, and I think that was basically saying, is this working? I think that took about 5 hours of our day. I don't remember getting a response, so maybe the rig check wasn't working.
Yeah.
Do you think
Breaker
they still
19 is what I used to say at the local wine merchants when I was ordering my breaker for the week.
Yeah, text in.
Copy, they used to say. Did they say copy?
Oh, copy, did they?
Over, you definitely say over.
We got
don't you?
ourselves a convoy. Good
Yep.
body. Good
No,
body.
that's your work in the
trucking through the
S&M
night.
community.
The family next to us used to have a big mast in the garden.
Did they do CB then in your
For
days?
CB. Oh, God, yeah. What do you mean?
Hey, that's
And,
another reason, isn't it? The mast. If it was on the top of the church, someone could say that's a big mast. Mass and mast, isn't it? There's nearly a pun there, isn't there?
Can I be honest?
I don't
It's a
know
bit
what-
je suis.
It's just sweet.
I don't know what to say.
It's very je suis.
I feel a bit bilious. Yes.
They had a
What was we
big
talking
mast.
about? Oh, I can't remember what I was talking about. It's thrown me completely.
Oh, we were on this
I feel like I've
email.
been punched in the stomach.
No, this email is from Archie McDarcy.
What?
No, you know, this is the email. He then goes on to say, also, last week Emily mentioned A.E. Houseman and the alarm failed to sound. Is this a voice-activated device? And if so, is it programmed to respond only to a male voice? I would say yes, Absolute Radio operates a male-only policy.
Certainly not. Can I say Absolute Radio is equalitariised in every element? Where are we going to have
Lovely.
lunch today? We usually have lunch at a local gay
Just discuss
restaurant.
this on the radio.
No, but we go to a gay restaurant. It's
Where
going
we
to
can
be
have lunch
so
today?
busy today because it's Pride in London, and I don't feel right going there today. I think that they should get first go at the tables. It's their special day.
Tables.
A special day.
It is their special day. You can't deny that.
This is their moment.
it is. This is
Also, you don't want to see Lance today, do you?
Oh, well, I won't recognise him anyway. He's going to be dressed as I think he said a purple dragon.
All right.
Yeah, guys, honestly.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're still in email corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's stay here.
Let's go on to the second one. This is from Rupert, prisoner 967. He says, Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, although I hate myself for my pedantry,
Bet he doesn't.
I love yourself for your pedantry.
Can I say never hate yourself for pedantry?
Okay.
Ever. Pedantry is the sloppy person's word for accuracy.
Oh, lovely. In last week's show, you might want to rethink that opinion presently.
Is it me?
Yeah. In last week's show, while discussing Harrison Ford, Frank incorrectly stated that Star Wars, or as Frank likes to call it,
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
was set in the future. It is, of course, set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's from Rupert.
Oh, it is, yes.
Good point. How could you forget
Which
that?
is mentioned quite early on in the film,
It's a
if I
big-
remember.
Yeah.
It's a doozy of a quote, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's,
Yeah,
he's nailed you there.
I'm still reading at that stage, I must say. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a fair point. But, you know, if you're a Doctor Who fan, the whole idea of time and past and future, you know, is not important. It's
you love
time
all
as
the doctors, don't you? Doctor Who, Dr Pepper, you're
Yeah.
right in there. Just
Yeah.
any...
Not all of them.
I
Let's
can
get
name a
that
couple.
clear. Not all of them.
couple I don't like, but I
Yeah.
don't really want to list them.
Frank, don't feel so bad, because last week someone tweeted me to helpfully point out that I'd made a mistake. I called him Han Solo instead of Han Solo. I gave him a little Danish twist.
Well spotted on that one.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with the Danish twist?
I could
Well,
just
nothing
eat
but-
one, actually.
Yeah,
if
love
you've
that.
got one. No, time, you know, past and future, it's all mixed up and circular. It's not. I went into Past Times, you know that shop, and they had an electric till.
Bizarre.
What do you make of that?
Ridiculous.
That's why it closed down.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show through the Absolute Radio website. You know, whenever I say the Absolute Radio website, I always slightly raise myself up in my chair. I don't know where that's come from.
dear.
I'm going to stop doing that.
You think it's just to help you get that sort of zesty, high-energy voice that you bring to your broadcasting?
Yes, I do think that. Have you ever noticed, by the way, Alun,
Yeah.
that the men's toilets
Oh, I
At
feel so
Absolute
left out of
here
this.
at Golden.
You know we're on air, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, you
What are
might
you
have
gonna
noticed.
say?
You might have noticed this on the
How
door.
dare you?
It says men's
Right.
with no apostrophe.
Oh,
Is that good?
that's right, isn't it? Men's.
I thought you were going to tell me.
I haven't ever noticed the absence of the
That can't be
apostrophe.
right, can it?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course you.
I don't know how to ask this. Are they separate? Are they cubicles, or is it all one area?
No, they're
Two
separate
cubicles.
cubicles.
Oh, thank
yeah.
goodness
This
for
must
that.
be great radio.
Well, I think some people would be quite intrigued.
Do you think?
I think people like a bit of minutiae.
Yeah.
Here's hoping. If they have it, we don't have to worry about them. They're just switched off. I'll be listening to someone saying, "So why don't you tune in next week and you can win a TV set?"
TV set.
It's the sort of thing you
station's
win
that?
on proper radio. Sort of
Tell
thing
you what
that-
station that was, 1963.
Yeah, but I find that that's still on air.
I liked it.
Look, I feel we should make some reference to the fact that there's a World Cup going on.
The World
yeah.
Cup.
I mean, I know we try to avoid football on here because I've done a bit about it in the past.
Apparently
But,
so.
I think we should probably recognise the passing of England, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out.
Yeah, it's for the best.
You think?
I think
They're out. Very appropriate on a day like today.
I think England coming out of the World Cup is a bit like getting a splinter out of your finger.
Mm-hmm.
It just
The pain's
feels,
over now.
The pain's over. You can just relax and get back to normal.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the tournament. Do you mean you can now watch the tournament without the hang-up? Is that what you're saying?
It's
Or do you
pleasant. It's pleasant watching, proper teams play nice football.
yeah, it's quite
no.
exciting now, isn't it?
Didn't even have an official song this year. It's too late to get Madness's "I'm an Embarrassment" release, which is a pity. No, I thought it was terrible, and there seems to be some myth that we did all right. We lost, but we did all right. We did a bit better this time. No,
Yeah.
incorrect. Anyway,
Well, every cloud, though. I love that Suarez.
there has been other news at that World Cup.
Yeah.
The World Cup. I mean, Suarez is he's been in what Frank Spencer would call a bit of trouble.
yeah.
Got in a little bit of trouble.
Yes, but what is it that when you get really, really lose your temper and you feel you want to hit someone?
Yeah.
I've never thought, I could just bite you if you get.
No.
I get that sometimes if I really, really like someone. You know
want
what
to
I mean?
bite them.
I want to bite them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But I mean in a nice way.
Yeah.
Not hard. I wonder if it's coming from that. If it's a little bit cheeky.
He's attracted to defenders every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
Is he going to end up doing ads, though? He is, isn't he?
I don't think what
Yeah.
he
Bitey
did.
ads.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as what England did in the World Cup.
You think?
Why
I don't
do you
think it was.
say that?
It wasn't
I
as
think they should have like a
disgusting.
20-game ban.
I think yes. I think we should just say let's not go. Let's not go until we've sorted ourselves out. Let's not go
You see,
again.
controversially, I do like myself a character.
He is a bit of a character.
I'm not saying what he did was right, but at least he's got a bit of character.
I was angry at first. I mean, I would write him an abusive letter, but apparently the postman won't go anywhere near his house. Can you blame me?
I mean, he's a man with big teeth, though, isn't he? We can say that, can't we? And I just
You
think
can say that. Yeah.
if I was him, the last thing I would do would be attract attention to that fact. Like I would, if I was going to hit somebody, I'd hit them and go, "Ooh, look at my hands! Don't in any way look at my teeth because these are quite a set I've got." But it's almost like he wants us all to look at his gnashes.
Well,
You
I
see
like-
the marks he left there.
I did see
well,
the
you
marks,
couldn't. That
yeah.
guy was he pulled his
T-shirt.
shirt down into
Yeah.
a sort of Jane Russell in the Outlaw. He looked like
A look I favour
I
often.
couldn't really see the bite mark. No.
Really?
No, I couldn't see it.
But the rest of the world has.
I don't think I wasn't at all. I'm not saying he
Frank's in
didn't do
denial
it.
about quite a number of things.
No,
Let's
no,
add that to the list.
I accepted
Not
there
even
probably
start
was
talking about that.
was a bit of biting. Whether there was sufficient VT evidence for a long ban,
Why do
I
you
don't
always
know.
side with these people?
He could have
You love
easily
an
been.
underdog, don't you?
Yeah.
When you play football at the top level, you often get those
Oh,
bits.
you should know.
You get those
Why do you
bits.
talk like you're
Just from
Gary
your- Is
Lineker?
this from your Barcelona years?
No, but I've met a few. And you often, when you're
All
running,
met a few, love.
when you're running a lot, you get those bits of white in the corner of your mouth. I think he might have just been wiping those off.
On somebody's shoulder.
I think the evidence of a bite was slim. If he hadn't bitten someone before,
Two
I
different
think-
occasions.
When you play football at the top level,
Yeah.
never had anything like it.
listen.
Absolute
Absolute.
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
also a bit of a merchandise disaster with the old World Cup. The World
certainly
Cup.
was.
You mean
Yeah.
the UMI?
What?
Unfortunate merchandise incident.
Oh, was there? There was a UMI.
I was in... where was I?
Umi.
Tesco's, and there was big things up saying, come on England, like 3 days after they'd gone out.
Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Unless they're trying to sell luggage. Like, our boys couldn't wait to get their bags packed.
Yeah,
and this is, that'd be a good way of doing it as a tie-in.
Yeah.
Worth remembering for 2 years and 4 years' time.
Well, maybe not.
For the luggage makers.
Maybe 30 years' time.
There was a mug that was meant to have Chris Smalling's face on it, and it had Barack Obama's picture on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's ended up selling better than all the actual proper merch, I think, put together. Like, I think it's flown out.
What was the
stores.
headline on this story?
I
Are
don't
you
know,
aware?
hang on.
It's the fact that it's got cops and mugs in it. It all seems like it's absolutely lined up for it.
Have you got a pun?
No, I just thought it had all the
No,
ingredients.
but there will be some... I think someone on the Daily Mail comments must have said couldn't be any worse than the mugs on the pitch. I bet you someone said that.
But you know when one of the worst things you can hear a politician talk about is football. When politicians
Oh, it's dreadful.
They never
It's
know
dreadful.
anything about it, and they all and it's always awful. And Barack Obama is, he is super cool. I think you'd agree.
He is cool, yeah.
Yeah, and I've never heard him say anything which made me think, oh, God, that's a bit embarrassing. And then he mentioned the fact that USA had got through the group, and he sounded like when David Cameron
did he?
talks about
Did he?
Coldplay.
Oh, no.
He was just saying, yeah, and they've got through the this section of the... And it was, God, it was... And suddenly he became one of those bumbling, foolish politicians. It was awful.
Yeah.
It's a shame, isn't it?
So he's had a terrible World Cup, that's what I'm saying. He's ended up on Chris Smalling's mug, and he's,
haven't we all?
he's destroyed his cool.
Can I be honest? I thought Barack Obama looked okay
He
as a
looks
member of the
good.
England squad, and I thought it was quite interesting that he could pass. I mean, yeah, he's
He can
knocking on a
pass.
bit.
Oh, he definitely
can
can't play
pass.
for England then.
I think you'll find it out, Mary.
I don't think he wouldn't fit in at all.
No, but he could pass for a member of the squad. Now,
Yeah.
I was thinking of you two. Alan Cochrane? I don't know, if I'm honest. It's a
No.
bit woodwork teacher. You
think-
don't look like you've got the aggression.
I think he could pass.
Bit of a Peter Crouch type,
What about
maybe.
if
Nice
Alex
to play for England, is that what
Salmon,
you're saying?
Alex Salmon, for example, had
Yeah.
been accidentally put on? That wouldn't have worked. There aren't many politicians who could pass as a member of the England team. You wouldn't have thought.
Frank, you're tailor-made, but a few decades ago, if you don't mind me saying.
I could
You've got
be
an old-fashioned face.
Manager mug.
Yeah, manager.
Yeah.
Intelligentsia manager. Nice Roy Hodgson style manager.
No, it may be
yeah.
small spectacles.
Yes.
Yeah, and a sort of literary quote in the post match,
Lovely.
Nice.
like when our 13-match unbeaten run at West Brom ended, and Roy Hodgson said, "Well, as the Chinese say, even the tallest tree in the forest doesn't go all the way to the sky."
So what he said?
To heaven, I think he said. To heaven. I'm misquoting him. Yeah, and that's a good thing for a manager to say, I think.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You know those little wind-up chattering teeth that you can get as a kid's toy? You know those?
Yeah.
They'd be a good bit of Luis Suarez merch now,
I
wouldn't
don't
they?
know if he wants to push it.
Oh, I think he will.
I
If
think
Liverpool
they'll be playing
don't
it
sell
down.
him, and they're listening...
Liverpool won't sell him. Anyway, let's not get into football.
All right.
I think a player of that quality you could forgive if he went into a McDonald's and shot 15 people. I'd still think, well, he's having a difficult time.
Yeah.
I think, he's had a 6-month suspension. That's plenty.
Right, fair enough.
That's
So,
football.
I've got news to report from Planet Alan Cochrane, if you will. I'm not the most upbeat individual always. I've
No.
been,
Well, don't put yourself down.
I've been making real strides to try and keep cheery.
Have you?
I'm not joking. I know it's a phrase.
Oh, you better
but
get off this show then.
I've literally been walking on the sunny side of the street. There's a street near me. One side's in shade and the other side's in sunshine. I've been walking
You
on
go
the
to the
sunny
sun?
side, and it's nice, isn't it? It's nice in
Well,
Happy
I've
Land.
always done this. Can I just say,
Have you?
Frank, do you go towards the sunny side of the street? I do.
Yes, generally, I do.
Yes, I can see you as that type.
And do you know what else has happened recently? I've I've been looking for things that I'm all right at, and I'm not kidding. I think at least 3 times in about 10 days, I've absolutely nailed parallel parking. I mean, nailed it.
I've never nailed that.
Punched the air. And I've got I've had a new car since mid-February.
Did you punch the air like when Frank swam a length?
Yes! A bit like that. It hasn't got parking sensors, and it's a big vehicle, and I've been nailing parallel parking.
I don't know how you do that.
I've been driving for 11 years now.
I'm so good at it.
When
I'm so good. It's unbelievable.
Are you really?
Unbelievable.
I think it might be my best bit of driving now.
I think reversing is next to impossible.
It's next to first.
I've been driving. I've been pressing the wrong thing. No, I've been driving around a few country lanes this last week.
Oh, yeah. You've always got a reverse.
And you know those ones where if there's a car coming the other way, one of you has to reverse into the nearest sort of pulling-in bit. I've had a couple of those, and people whiz backwards. They just whiz backwards, and I keep going into the hedge and all that. Oh dear! You see, I used to have, when I first learned to drive, I was in a Triumph Toledo, and there was a watermark on the back. I used to use that as my guide on the back windscreen, whatever you call the back windscreen. Is that still a windscreen? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to take any wind.
No.
Back window, I suppose. Still got the word wind in it, hasn't it?
I used to use that. I've never replaced it. So I find reversing, honestly, more difficult than putting together a 90-minute stand-up show.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It comes so naturally to me, reversing. I cannot tell you.
You're the woman I've been searching for my whole... Oh, sorry. Still on air, you say. Okay.
Frank, you've always got to line it up on arrival. That's where you're going wrong. Line it up perfectly with that parallel parking.
I'll tell you what I do. I parked last night outside. I mean, literally outside my house. So if you walked out, there's my car.
And it can be a tight squeeze outside your house.
Yeah, and it's about, I'd say, half an inch from the curb, the front wheels and the back wheels. It's perfect.
Oh, will you send us a picture?
And my girlfriend, who arrives back tomorrow from a weekend break, said, "You're going to pick me up from the station?" I said, "No, I'll get a cab." I thought, I don't want to move it.
It's too good.
It's a shame to move it. I'll leave it a few more days. It's perfect. I'll never park that well again.
Is it because you don't want to move it, or because you want to watch another Revenge of the Spiders Doctor Who episode, or whatever
it's
you're
called
watching?
Planet of the Spiders, actually.
Yeah,
all
Revenge of the Spiders. That wouldn't exist.
That'd be a bit
Planet of the Spiders.
That's what he did with his free time.
Yes.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Yeah, so I always think a very bold reverser, those people that just zoom back, I always think they're probably not that bright.
Oh, you would say that.
I do kind of assume that. I kind of think that...
because you can't do it.
Yeah, maybe it's just me justifying myself, but they have that look about them as well. They don't have the foresight to see that there's any danger in going
sort of speak before you think types.
The sort of if you're in the balloon, they're going to be pretty well near the top of the list when it comes to the throwing over the side. That's my view. I also I agree though. It's little things that make you very happy. I was so happy with that parking. I remember as well back to the World Cup, the last World Cup, we were losing I think 4-1 to Germany.
Oh yeah.
And I leaned across to David Baddiel. We were both pretty down about it, and I said, "Just remembered, I got some soft mints in the van," and it did make it feel like, oh God, I forgot about that. And when you're on your way to soft mints, you know they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Especially if they may be slightly warmed up in the van.
You like a warm soft.
I love finding an old sweet. Don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, today's the day. So, also, that moment when you realise the edges have come off the soap. When you first get a bar of soap's a bit sharp.
I don't know, I haven't bought soap, darling, in 20 years.
Do you have a liquid dispenser?
I have a liquid dispenser and then I have products. Mm-hmm. I don't have soap. Anyway, as you were.
Well, I buy
no
soap.
Judgment.
It's a harsh rectangle.
Imperial leather.
Buy soap. You stay in as many hotels as you do, and you buy soap.
Sorry.
Surely you've got a room full of little
soap.
Don't steal it.
You wouldn't take the soap, would you, from a hotel?
On occasion.
What are you, soap thief?
Are you crazy?
I don't like it to be wasted. Once you've started it, you think, well, they're only going to put it in the bin.
Do you take wet soap? Do you pack it in a plastic bag? This is absolutely
Put it in my wash bag,
disgraceful.
Oh,
You put it in your wash
do you have a
bag?
special pouch for the soap?
You know what you just said? That's disgusting. I told somebody the other day that I had been given a brand new polo shirt by my father-in-law,
Oh,
who
lovely.
gives me things every now and again. And they said, all right, what other stuff have you had? And I said, well, I've got a pair of his swimming shorts that I go swimming in that he used to wear.
That is
Is
a bit
that
weird.
weird? Is that
it?
weird to wear my father-in-law's hand-me-down
I
swimming
wouldn't wear
shorts?
someone else's swimming
It's a
shorts.
bit Brothers
Really?
Grimm.
No,
Oh, well, that's what I'm doing.
that
And people
just-
do find it disgusting.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm not often disgusted, but I'm borderline at the moment. I'm in the disgusted postcode.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I tell you what, I had a thing this week in the car. I was pulling out onto a main road, and there was a person pulling. I can't really explain this phrase. He was pulling out and turning right,
Yeah.
and I was pulling out from the other side of the road to turn left. So we ended up going into the same lane, as it were. And I went to go, and then so I stopped.
Yeah.
And when he drove past, he slowed up and did one of those massive stairs right face against the window.
Oh,
Do
the
you know what I mean?
psychotic stairs.
One of those stairs.
Did he recognise you?
And, well, I had got, like, big Lou Reed shades on.
That's how
how
he does all his
disturbing.
driving.
So, he wouldn't have, I don't think. But, it's one of those things where you really wish you'd got a sooty glove puppet. That you could
One of
just bring it up to the thing, because he's been so male, and just to bring up Sooty and just have a bit of a look at him and then go back down again. I really wish I might keep one in the glove puppet compartment.
Oh,
You could have two.
lovely.
You could do all your driving with glove puppets on, and then just.
And then you've
That
always
would
got them
spoil-
on.
that would spoil the moment. It's the reveal I was after.
The big
Yeah.
reveal.
But I actually did.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry,
I
Frank.
will confess. I did a bit of that.
Well, you always do every week.
Imagining beating him up after. You know that thing that you do. I hate
No,
doing
I'd
that.
never imagine
still
beating
be
someone
doing-
up.
I'd
I hate
still be doing
myself
that.
for that.
Do you imagine that? Is that what men do?
Yeah.
Oh, I do that all the time.
you?
All the time.
And I don't mean just...
We don't do that,
I don't
do we,
mean just
girls?
rough them up a bit. I'm on about putting them in hospital for 3-4 weeks.
I
Do
mean,
men fantasise about that?
Yeah, it's
I would
awful.
say I give
hate
over
myself.
Do you know, I've
typically about
reached...
3 days of my week to that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like.
I'd say I'm down to 2.5 now.
Well done. Well
But
done,
I'll tell you what worries me. It struck
You're probably
me.
busier than
Well,
me.
this is a revelation to me.
It struck me afterwards that...
Well, I'm glad it didn't strike you
yeah,
afterwards.
that I know he didn't lay a hand on me in my
No.
fantasy.
What happens in the fantasy? Do you just go up to him and hit him?
Oh, well, I think I actually dragged him through the open car window.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
And do you always win the fight in these
Oh, God,
fantasies?
win isn't the word.
What happens at the end of the fight? In
I
an
just-
ideal scenario, what happens?
I urinate on them. but I wasn't going to bring that up. But
Absolutely
what
horrified.
occurred to me is that I never...
What's wrong with him?
I never fantasise...
I asked, but I didn't know that was going to happen.
I never fantasise about doing really good, gentle things to people. I never think, wow,
I do.
What if I'd gone over and given that person, 50 quid and said, look after you, made them really happy. I never fantasise about that. I just fantasise about that horrible, violent things.
Yeah.
What about you, Alan? Same?
Yeah, so...
How does your fantasy end? Please don't say it's in the same way.
Well, on a good day, it'll end with the urination, and on a bad day, it'll end with a long, morbid fantasy about the prison sentence that is pending after it.
Yeah.
For you?
So that,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have that thing when I'm driving away and I can see they're not moving in the rearview mirror and I think, oh, God, I've killed him.
Yeah, that's a worry, isn't it?
I'm flabbergasted.
Are you really?
Yeah.
See, I thought this stuff
I've
was so
never,
obvious.
ever in my whole life.
It's another version of what's that Escalier thing?
Esprit d'escalier.
Yeah.
It's that, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't
really
imagine
full-on version of
urinating
that.
on people.
Anyway, I don't think we can say urinating 3 times. I know I've
Was
said
it like
4.
Beetlejuice or something?
No, it's not that thick. It's
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We haven't talked about the Queen today at all.
Really?
Ironically.
Yeah.
Well, the Queen went to Antiques Roadshow. I saw that in the paper.
She went Antiques Roadshow. She loved it. Prince Philip asked the classic question people always ask. He said, when's this going to be on?
Can you believe that he said that?
Yeah.
That's what people always say. Any cameras anywhere in the street, when's this going to be on?
And he must
Has he
have
not
been...
got Sky Plus at the Palace?
Maybe he's so used to being on the news that he's thinking it's going to be on tonight. Every time there's a camera around, he's thinking it's going to be tonight, innit? Because it's the news. I'm on the news, generally.
What about when the Queen said, this would be great if it was on in August, as we'd have a chance to see it? We've not got Sky Plus or iPlayer. It's like 1953 approach to watching television.
She might have a packed July.
Something tells me it'll now be on in August. Just let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Can there be... Have I ever been
appointment.
less surprised by anything in my life to discover that the Queen likes Antiques Roadshow? You could write a list of the Queen's programmes.
Yeah.
Spring Watch,
Yeah.
Coast.
Yeah.
You know what she's going to like.
Oh, I know. They assessed some of her pieces, didn't they?
Yeah.
A bronze horse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come pick Route 1.
Wasn't
A
that...
bronze horse?
Wasn't that
Didn't
just
they
in
say
the building?
to her, oh, God, couldn't you got anything a bit less obvious? Mum.
Mum.
So you have to call them Mum.
I think it's mum rather than mum.
No, I think they sort of very posh people say, like, Mum.
Oh. All right,
She also went to the Game
They
of
can't
Thrones
open their
set.
mouths very wide, very posh.
She went to the Game of Thrones set as well.
Yeah. Now I have a personal interest.
Yes.
As you may know, my boyfriend is in Game of Thrones.
I thought
Yes.
you meant you'd invested in it heavily. Yeah, I've got a little bit. I'll get
Yes,
some of the back end.
Emily goes out with Charles Dance.
My toy boy. Yeah, so she went there. I didn't get to go, which is a bit of a shame. He didn't get to go. He was working.
Right.
What's the point if I'm not going to get these little perks?
To be honest, I think that's good scheduling. No film set is big enough for you and the Queen in the same
that's
visits.
true.
Well,
It's not big enough for
your
both
friend
of them.
Con-
one of my
Conleth.
dear friends, Conleth, who is the godfather of my child, he's in Game of Thrones.
He's
and
scrubbed up
He
well.
was there. Yeah. Well, my girlfriend said he looked more like the Queen than the Queen, which I told him he wasn't very happy about. So he's got a shock of white hair. But he was chewing.
Was
Oh,
he?
no.
When he was talking to her, he was chewing, and I mentioned this to him, and he said that he had some regret about it, I think, but it did look... I don't know what the rules are on that.
Was it Skull Bandits?
I hope it was.
Is that what it was on?
You don't chew a skull. Can I say before
You
we
probably
leave...
place it in the gum.
Please don't try Skull Bandits
No.
if you're... I don't
If
want
you're
to...
meeting the Queen on other occasions.
Mind you, I sense now Absolute Radio thinking, hold on, they might advertise with us. Let's not go that far.
They're allowed.
No,
A
don't.
hot new contract
It's
with
bad.
Skull Bandit.
It's still nicotine and tobacco and stuff, so please don't think that
No,
it's
don't.
all right to have Skull
did it
Bandits.
come to
Whereas
this?
Dr. Pepper, yowza. You know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Enjoy your day. God bless you. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.